Hi everyone, welcome to the new video. So today we'll talk about the scans that we need to include in our CI/CD pipeline. And so let's go. We perform various kind of scans and tests in our CI/CD pipeline at various stages. So basically, after building the code, after doing the checkout, after building the code, we perform various kind of scans and tests. We also do after like creating the image, we do various kind of scans. Then for uh, third party dependencies check, we do various kind of scans, not various kind, but we'll include one scan for it too. But also after deploying we do scans. So today we are going to discuss that what kind of scans we have to do, and then uh, how it has to be performed, because that will build an idea, okay, how the security and how the uh, security can be developed in our pipelines when we start creating the CI/CD pipelines. So first kind of scan that we are going to talk is uh, uh, static code analysis. Static code analysis, why it is called static? Because in this uh, analysis, in this scan, we are not running our code. We are not running our code. What it is doing, it is just analyzing the source code, that whether our source code is, it is following the standards of coding. It has well defined formatting. There is no syntax error, there is no logical error. So this kind of scans that are called static code analysis, because it doesn't run anything. So basically, the static code analysis to check the code quality, okay, and the formatting and everything. So we usually do it through SonarQube or linting tools. So there are linting tools that help us doing the static code analysis. Basically, this static code analysis can, at what stage it has to be included. It is done after the build stage. So basically, after the checkout code, you can do the static code analysis, or after building, you can do static code analysis. So you can include SonarQube, which will detect the vulnerabilities, code smell, and bugs in your code. And linting tools will help in checking the formatting and if the coding standards is maintained or not. So there are linting tools in and there is a linting tool of Flask 8 in Python. So we can explore it. Then comes, after the static code analysis, then comes our security scans. So security scans are basically performed after build stage. So in security scans, we will we try to simulate the attacks in our code, and and to check that whether our code is able to handle those attacks. So if it is able to handle, so that scan will pass. In security scans, we have SAS scan, we have DAS scan, we have third party dependency check scans. So what happens in SAS scan, DAS scan, and third party dependency? SAS scan is SAS scan is full form is static application security testing, and DAS scan is dynamic application security testing. So what happens in SAS scan? Basically, it analyzes our code, source code, that whether it has any SQL injection or any such kind of vulnerabilities, where it tests for SQL injection or cross-site scripting. So it is known as XSS. So it tests in our code that whether any end user will be able to view the sensitive data, is something present like that in our code, or it will be able to insert anything in database. So it tests for something like this. If in our code something like this is present, what is cross site scripting? Whether like an end user will be able to render or something in our web page, so that it can basically it the web page cannot be hacked, so the end user is not uh, cannot be hacked. So it tests all kind of things. So that is just by analyzing the application. That is why it is known as static application security testing. What is the DAS scan is dynamic application security testing. So basically, this kind of security testing, DAS scan, is done by deploying our application in a test environment and checking that if it is it tries to simulate a real world attacks in that test environment. When our application is deployed in test environment, then it tries to simulate a real world attack and how much our application is able to handle it. So basically, we will have to have a test environment on which our application will be deployed. So that is a DAS scan. So basically, in that scan, we will have like it will try to access the application and what kind of response the application gives, like uh, unauthorized for, and like what kind of response code it will give. So in that scan, these kind of testing is done. It will try to access the application, it will try to simulate the real world attack. So I hope this is clear. Then third party dependency check is basically OWASP, or we can include OWASP or sync scan. Okay, what it does, whatever dependencies that we have included in our application, it will check that whether those dependency are safe or not. So this is included in security scans. Then we have unit testing, integration testing, regression testing. So what are these? Unit test is basically it is run after our build stage. So what happens in unit testing? Uh, Second, let me, yeah. So in unit test, basically small code or functions are tested, whatever, like not the whole application will be tested, not the whole source code will be tested altogether, but the small functions and modules that we have defined, those will be tested. So whether it is running properly or not. So there are various tools that by which we can perform the unit test. So in Python, we use PyTest to perform unit test. We use JUnit to perform unit test, NUnit. So basically, we will have to just we have a Maven command, we have a PyTest command to do the unit test, and that will do the testing of the small modules and codes that are present in our application. Then comes integration testing. So in integration testing, what happens? It will test that how it will actually test that if there are various services in our application, so how all integration testing means after integrating everything, right? So basically, when there are for one application, if there are two services, there is one front end and then there is a back end. Okay. So how actually both services are working together, that is called integration testing. And when we perform testing like that, that is called integration test. So Postman, like APIs for the DBs. Basically, these are used for testing out. So basically, if we are able to access these services using API, so these kind of tests is done for integration testing. Then one kind of testing is regression testing. What happens in regression testing? Basically, it is checked that if a new feature that has been added, new changes that has been added, it has not affected the existing code. So that when we add, that is called regression testing and it can be automated. So so this testing can be automated using framework like TestNG and all. So this is included in the testing. Then comes like when we have the Docker image, when we create the Docker image, then we do container image scanning. So then we have container image scan. In this, whatever image that we are building, it will test that whatever dependencies we are going to add, and then it will also test that the layers, dependency test, then doc the image layers that are that are being created, whether they are correct or not. So uh, it is meeting the standards or not, that it will test in container image scan. So for performing the container image scan, we can include Trivy, Claire. So yeah, there may be many tools, but I'm aware about all this. Rivi I have used, so that it's easy to integrate, so that you can also use. So this stage is basically included after our Docker image creation. So basically in Trivi Scan, we have a report that is generated. In SonarQube also, we have a report that gets generated when the scan is done. In Trivi also, the reports get generated. So yeah, these are the scans, like these are the minimum scans or which should be included if you are like there should be one scan for code quality check. There should be security scans. You can include all of the scans. It depends. But yeah, it is advisable to include all the scans as does after the build stage. Then of course you should include unit tests after the build stage, and uh, the unit test can be before these scans. So basically there will be a you can do checkout code. So basically, after checkout code includes the static code analysis. After build include unit test. After unit test include the security scans. Then after your Docker image creation include the container image scan. Integration testing has to be done. You after post deploying you can do integration testing, or after a container you can do integration testing. So yeah, that has to be done. So that's all for today's video. That's all for today's video. I hope it's helpful. Please let me know your views in the comment section. Till then, take care. Bye.